Listen, son.
I have to try a bunch of different things.
What gives you energy?
Glamping is 20% activities that are bringing the most revenue.
Absolutely pissing me off.
What does your typical workday look like?
Something that we absolutely must cover.
It's been a long year, man. I think I told you in the first episode that I'm aiming to go to 20 properties.
Hi everybody, welcome back to the Get Cracking podcast. We had a break, but now we are back. We have a bunch of new things, new design. Also, there's a new video on the channel already. And now we have another interview discussion podcast. And then today actually you will see way less of interview, but then me and Sani just gonna sit down, share topics, share ideas. And I think first of all, before we dive in, if you wanna know more about Sani, I think you should check out the previous video. He shares his property and kind of some difficulties that he has. So he does a lot of short-term rental and short-term rental through the Airbnb and Booking.com. So then, if people want to find you, where do they go?
They can find me in LinkedIn with my name, which you have written there, and also on Instagram.
The Sing in Instagram, and then Sunny Sing in LinkedIn. So there's the place. So go check him out right now, and then listen to the full episode. Cool. Maybe let's dive in. So Sunny, you do short-term rentals, and also you do a few other things. What else you're doing in addition to kind of short-term rentals?
Well, my kind of focus is in the real estate. That's my passion. So I'm kind of trying bunch of different things within the real estate. The short-term apartments is like the main focus at the moment, but I'm on the side. I'm doing long-term lets and also some storage stuff. Also looking at some software stuff. So there's a bunch of stuff happening.
Bunch of stuff, and also the setup for this episode is that we did our homework. So you did topics and I did topics. So now we'll go through those topics. And then maybe have a discussion, share the perspective. So I've seen yours, you've seen mine already. So it is kind of maybe not that exprompt video, but then it's still a bit more alive.
Like a chill conversation.
Yeah, kind of. Do you want to start? What do you have?
Well, firstly, you're doing bunch of different things as well. And every time I see you, there's a new venture going on. So I really want to know, what are you up to at the moment?
Yeah, you see correctly. And then also everybody just tells me when I do, I kind of stick to one thing and I keep pushing it. And then I will do, I promise. But then I need to know that this is the thing that I want and it works. And then, I'm happy with it, this experiment results. But what I'm up for now is that I think the easy one is the personal brand. So I do a lot of the media work. So the podcast sharing, I've launched the Telegram channel, and it's a new thing. It's exclusive in Russian language, and because I've understood that I didn't do any content in Russian, so now I also do content in Russian. And then work-wise, there is something called Lenza Store. It is the second-hand equipment for cameras and lenses, and then with Nikolai together. So Nikolai is my partner in crime into kind of creating this video. So then together we buy and sell second-hand cameras and lenses. So there's the second thing, and then the one more thing is the AI-based tool for real estate agents to do the virtual staging. So it is also kind of moving a bit. So then I'm also focusing on it.
Which one is your favorite?
My favorite, I think what I like to do most is what we are doing now. Sitting, kind of having a conversation with somebody who is doing something and sharing the perspectives. I think that's what I like to do most. But then also I like, move forward. So then I feel that both other things this is something that, I kind of need to do because this is where my maybe commercial mind is kind of, implemented.
Do you feel that the passion lies there? Because, you're trying these different ventures, right?
Yes.
So there might be a kind of clash inside you that, I would like to pursue this, but it's not necessarily something I really like to do. So do you find that in your personal branding journey?
I think you're right. I think, I also feel that I'm not as like I'm not an artist. So I've seen like artists and I've spoke with like a bunch of them. They really like their craft. They're like, they can spend days doing the craft. Like me, even though I really like, podcasting, but I cannot spend whole day, thinking and doing this thing versus I could really spend the whole day, preparing the plan, reaching out to people, asking the things, trying to, do some kind of calculations for the new business venture. So I think the passion is actually, there, but then it's not full without the creative aspect. So that's what I felt. Yeah, that's what I am now. So there are like three big things.
But this is the thing, like, if you want to find your kind of one thing, you have to try a bunch of different things, right? And some people, they find that one thing really quickly. For some, it takes time. But the good thing is you're at least trying, right? So you're on the right path.
Do you know what I heard today? There was like this story from one of the podcasts I've listened, and he was saying that he had like this meeting with his manager, and then he described his like a plan, what he's doing now, what he wants to do in the future. Like, he's building resource base, he's, building the network, crystallizing his plan. And then his manager was like, but you're entrepreneur kind of already, or not like he was employed at that time, but he exited the company before that. So he's like, yeah, you're an entrepreneur now. So then the question is like, why don't you do? Like, where's the action?
Yeah.
So then the guy was like, okay, this is true. This is like the feedback I kind of need, that, the entrepreneurs are the ones that are doing actions and then kind of getting it done. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel that actually the other day I was thinking about this, that, we talk about these morning routines and even evening routines, that you should do these cold showers, for example, reading, journaling. And I was trying to think to myself that some of those I've kind of forgot. Or I know that I should be doing those, but it has become less and less kind of part of my day. And I was like, why is this? And then I figured that, the business is growing, you're doing the day-to-day, so it requires a lot of action, so which leads to not doing those same things that you used to do. But it is, it comes in phases, right?
Have you thought of energy? So what gives you energy?
Sleep. Yeah, I can definitely see a difference when I've slept like 6 hours compared to 9 hours. And I used to think like it's okay, you have your morning coffee, then you're back to normal, but no, it affects you. And of course, exercise, that's really important. There's a shift in mood. If for 1 week, for example, you don't go to gym and then you go, it's a game changer. What about you? Do you kind of see the difference very clearly?
I think, yeah, so sleep 100%. Like when I don't sleep well, I just don't perform. There are there are some days that I'm doing things, but I'm not getting things done. So, and then this is mostly because of the, maybe sleep or the mental state, because it is all connected. Yeah, you're right. And also like about the routines, sometimes it's like super hard to get into routine, and you're like literally forcing yourself of like, okay, like that's like I heard this in the internet, and then they say like, okay, I need to wake up, I need to do this and this, and you're like,
wake up at 4
and then by the time you need to kind of step over yourself and actually do the action that moves the needle and moves your kind of business forward, you're like exhausted with all the previous things. Right? Yeah. And I'm not actually counseling anyone to like, I'm not telling not do those things. I'm just emphasizing that you are right, that we need to choose our battles and like do what brings the energy.
Yeah. And that routine itself won't lead to any kind of success.
No.
It's actually an action that you're taking, but those routines will build discipline, which you need to become a successful entrepreneur. What about relaxing? Because I've seen you grind, you have meetings and stuff like that. It's hard to kind of get to this more relaxed state, at least in the evenings. So do you have this kind of routine for chilling?
I actually I've recently got back to reading, and then also sometimes I meditate in the evening. And I think I shared with you, but then there was this opinion that like, you need to be aggressive in the morning, kind of, to get kind of grinding and kind of do the thing. and the person who was sharing that, he was saying that the cold water comes him down in the morning, so this is why he's not doing the cold showers, but then he would do them in the evening to come down. So then I am like reversing that, so then in the morning I would do the cold shower because it's absolutely pissing me off. Like, this is the worst thing I can imagine. When you wake up in the morning, you're like, okay, and then you go to the shower, you get my water is always on cold, I get it on, and then it's just going, and I'm standing there like just hating my life. But then I'm like, okay, I'm entering the cold shower, and it's, some minutes of disaster, and then I leave, and then after that I'm like, I'm on. I'm like,
wait,
I'm awake, I'm on it, and I'm ready. And then reverse in the evening. In the evening, something like to chill down, to relax. And I'm also the worst in this case. I'm frequently going to bed later because somehow I feel like, I don't know, I need to hang out, I need to call people, or I need to kind of, check some reels or watch some videos or like, get inspired to kind of write something. So, but yeah, working in it.
Yeah. It's a struggle kind of, because you're kind of used to this constant cycle of growing. And so whenever you have this, what do you call it, still time or idle time, you'll be watching YouTube and learning, and you're like, actually, I should be resting.
You know what? I'm starting to notice that. Like in my YouTube, I have some wiser and maybe more educatable content about like, strategy, marketing, business building, whatever it is, or like some interviews with the cool people, or something completely insane like, crushing cars. Whistle Diesel is the guy from US, or there's some Russian YouTubers that I watch that like, they just kind of crush cars there and kind of have fun. And I'm like,
you switch off kind of watching that.
Yeah. Right. And I'm like, okay, I need this, mental break now. Let's watch Whistle Diesel.
I need to actually incorporate this, because my YouTube, the subscription list is like, everybody's like grinding and stuff. And they are posting, there's so many of those.
Yeah.
So they're posting new video every day. So whenever you open it, you're like, okay.
And then algorithm learns that, so then the YouTube knows that like, okay, these type of videos you like and you kind of want to watch, and then it gives you more. It thinks that like, okay, that's what you need to consume, but in the reality, as you said, you need to consume like different things. Yeah,
there's a balance. Yeah. But I also like feel that now we're touching on YouTube. It's really important if you're like an entrepreneur. You deal with a lot of stuff, and you don't, see maybe you don't have a support group, or you don't have people in your life who are doing kind of entrepreneurial stuff. So in YouTube, you can have virtual mentors, right? So many of those are doing like weekly vlogs, right? So you can kind of see how their day to day looks like. And when you're struggling and you see them struggling, it kind of gives you this peace that it's part of it. It's like a superpower. Like it's crazy. Have you noticed?
Yes, and I think it is also a big learning in that it's about like, two sides. So I've noticed in that I'm super happy seeing people like succeeding, but then also I can relate to them when they share their, once they fail, or like the struggles they have. And I think like I wish to see more, but then somehow I heard that, in general, audience are happier seeing when you are kind of failing,
right,
or really succeeding. And then also I think it's like, for me, most of my work is something that doesn't lead to results, or I cannot show them. So there is no content about that. Like, I've sent, like this week, I've sent like, more than 20 emails, and then most of them actually didn't lead to anything. Or then there will be no LinkedIn post. There will be no example about this. So it's like, oh, yes, I've sent this random email, and then that's what I got. No, I mean, like, it's not going to happen, because there was the action that didn't lead to the great result outcome. So then it's not shared, because that's not what's interesting. And people are interested in, like, either hyper success or the failure. And then it's also the learning of how do I behave and feel once I see those. Yeah.
So if you didn't find a YouTuber who is doing this, you could be documenting this
everything,
stuff like this. But for me, I agree with the thing with you like to see people struggling kinda, because like whenever like I have a guest who breaks down a TV, like come on, man. And then you go on YouTube, you start watching this video, and he's like, yeah, my 50K truck has just broken down. And you're like, maybe the TV is not bad, right?
True. So I think is the way how do you feel? Like if you feel that you are happy that his truck, broke down, so maybe this is not a good sign. But
I'm not doing that. I'm just like,
I feel
he's struggling, I'm struggling.
But then the struggles are relatable in a sense. So you said about the TV. Is it like a real thing?
Yeah. I mean, and
how bad it was? Was it like complete crack or?
Yeah, I mean they dropped it like face down. So and nobody told me anything. So I went after the reservation, and I was like, how do you even do this and not communicate about it? But the first stuff that goes wrong always hits the hardest, right? Then it's like a comfort zone. So you deal with this stuff, and you deal with this stuff, and it expands. So when the third TV breaks down, you're like, oh, good, this is nice. Or there's a water damage. First time you're gonna be like, this is not good. But the third time it's like, it's okay. I know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
So it becomes easier and easier.
Do you work somehow to get better in this and kind of handling the bad things?
I mean, I journal like my entrepreneurial journey in an app called Notion. You're using it as well, and there I put like the serious stuff, so I can always go back to see what kind of stuff I was struggling before. So when I don't know, there's some bigger stuff happening, I can go back. Okay, but I was dealing with this stuff back in the day, so this doesn't feel so bad at all.
And you never know. So somebody told me this recently, is that also the question was that do I write down and note everything bad and no result that is happening kind of with my projects that are changing every 2 weeks. And then I was like kind of yes on a different in-depth level. So some of them I have really documented, some of them are just one note and then it goes to the bin. This is okay, it didn't work. So then the person was like, yeah, because you never know. So you get to a certain point and then you decide to write a book or a guide or podcast or the video. So then you're doing yourself a favor that you're like, okay, everything is documented. Right. You have a memory of that and you're just going to pull it up and then you just express yourself. So I'm sure somebody first of all yourself, and then second of all somebody might be really thankful for doing this.
Yeah, whenever I'm furnishing new apartments, I didn't used to have a to-do list when you have a new apartment, what you need to do. And then 1 month back I did one, and then I got this apartment, so it was so much easier than just figuring out every time the same stuff. But these are things that you don't maybe think about at the time, but later on you're like, why didn't I do this? But it's like a learning cycle. So
experience and then learning. What do you think next? So I have something prepared.
Yes.
Have you heard of glamping and glamping hotels?
So glamping is like camping, but luxury camping, right? So it's basically glamorous camping. So there are locations which you would normally go camping, but they have made very nice hotels there, which have super good amenities.
So I mean not very nice hotel. So then it's like a tent that is built as a building.
Can it be also like a dome or is it always like a camp?
I mean, no, it can be just any sort of building, but then it's not a hotel because it doesn't have all this high-end services. So you're not gonna find maybe breakfast tables there, or it's not like a luxury service hotel. But then it's somewhere super outdoor, and it's kind of beautiful there. It's actually might have no facilities in terms of toilet and water, but then it will have just some kind of building.
I think I've seen some of those in the northern Finland. There's of course we have Northern Lights, right? So people go there. But those glamping hotels had every amenity you just talked about, toilets, warm.
So then it's the next level already.
Yeah, next level. Well, I feel at least in Finland, we have a really short season, summer. It's really short here, so that makes sense to me. But because of it's such a short-term season, it would make sense if it's just a complementary business. So you have something else going on, but you have this. It's same with summer cottages. There's like so much offering now. It would just make sense if you're owning it and then using it yourself as well, and you're just taking care of the maintenance and utilities by renting it out. But yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned summer cottages. This is my topic. I'm fascinated. Tell me more. So how is the situation with summer cottages as a business in Finland?
Oversaturated, man.
Really?
Yeah. I feel that there's like, you have Airbnb, you have Booking.com, you have other platforms as well, like Vrbo, but then you have like dedicated platforms.
Isn't there also this vuokramökki?
Vuokramökki, you have Lomarengas, I think. There's so many that just tells that it's saturated, because what does it require? It requires you to buy this summer cottage and just rent it out, right? Again, I feel comfortable with the idea if you want to use it yourself as well. Or if you're ready to kind of make it like a glamping experience, like something super cool, right? But as itself, I don't feel there's any more like possibilities.
I kind of thought of that because also, like, you know, knowing Finnish people and then kind of people who live here, everybody likes to be outdoors. So then people usually would have kind of, you know, place to be in the summer. So you know what's happened, that the sun came out, beautiful day, and then one of our cameras, or the mic camera, got overheated. So now there's a cut, so don't get scared. But we are back. So something that we absolutely must cover in this maybe podcast episode is that Sunny actually was the one with whom we did pilot episode of the Get Cracking podcast a year ago. And then after that, I just kind of tested it. And after that, we actually did the real episode. And then the real episode was published. And then it's somewhere there. There is no video, only audio. On Spotify, it's available. So then Sunny told a lot about the actual real estate market and real estate business. So it was like a bit more technical episode in this sense. Sunny, what's your progress since then? Like 1 year after your adventure, and you know, how is it going?
It's been a long year, man.
Yeah.
I think I told you in the first episode that I'm aiming to go to 20 properties, and I'm almost halfway. But it's taking quite a toll. You know, it's a constant grind. So I'm in the stage where I'm trying to kind of balance things out. So I'm just looking what's going to happen with this current portfolio and venturing a bit to other stuff as well. So sometimes when you put a goal, it changes on the way. So because you are wiser, you know more.
Right.
Maybe it's not doable. Maybe it is. Maybe it's something you want to do or continue later. So currently in a more stable phase with the company.
About the goal setting, like there's the story when I worked in Swapia. We had like, you know, this huge, we've been growing like 3-5x per year. And then we had like huge sales and production targets for Black Friday and Christmas, because it's like a seasonality, it's a hot season for us. And then we go for execution. So the purchasing does the purchasing, production does the production, then the sales does the sales. And then the Black Friday week is done. We are approaching the sales for the Christmas. And then we are missing heavily on the targets. And we have like kind of like a small get together that it was planned after that. And then everybody is like not that happy. Everybody is like a bit kind of, you know, tuned down and stuff, but still kind of mingling. And then Sami Martin, and so CEO of Swapi, so he comes on, and like, you know, everybody expected him to say something. So where he put some slides on top, he's like, okay, so you guys obviously not happy with the performance of yourself because, you know, you didn't hit the targets. But then he was like, but what if I would tell you that we were supposed to do this? And he shows the projection, like, you know, financial projection, what we are supposed to hit, not the target, but then the forecast. And then the forecast was smaller than we hit. So the thing is that the goal was like hyper optimistic, like nearly impossible to hit. And then we all are like, we got said that we didn't do impossible. But then the reality is that we've done like really great. We really sold the shit, and we're really gonna produce everything. And, you know, the functions work well. I mean, okay, Swapi had like many other problems like under the hood, but like in this particular moment, it was also such a learning for me, because the goals are so relative to each other, so to say.
And this is like a think big kind of principle, that you're putting a really big goal and necessarily you won't hit it, but because of such a big goal, you'll grow in a different level than you would if you put the smaller goal.
So you try to reach the impossible. You ending up like lower than impossible, but lower than impossible is actually great. It's great to be a bit lower than impossible. But something else I wanted to ask you. So what would be one or two things that you would tell to yourself like a year ago?
Very good question. There's too many actually. And do we have time to cover everything?
Okay, listen, son, right now, take a pen and paper. I'll teach you like this.
Well, this is kind of a twofold thing. The first thing is that remember the Pareto's principle, the 80-20 rule, because of course at the beginning of your business growing journey, you're doing everything by yourself, right?
Yes.
But you have to, at that stage, already kind of identify those 20% activities that are bringing the most revenue. But of course, in the beginning stage, you don't even have the funds to hire somebody. But just keeping that in mind, because what happens is, as you're growing, you're still on that same kind of hustling mode, and you're doing everything by yourself, even when you have the funds to hire someone maybe. So try to get that really clear, because for me, I felt that at some point it didn't make sense that I was running everywhere, wearing all these hats. But maybe it was a lesson to me. The second thing is hiring right. So it directly is connected to that. When you hire a person, make sure he or she fits the role, because also what happens is you're so happy that you have finally delegated these tasks to somebody that you start to kind of overlook the mistakes they are making. And then you have not, I wouldn't say laziness, but you get comfortable that, okay, this person is performing okay and he's doing mistakes here and there, but the process of onboarding a new person would make so much, require so much effort that you kind of get comfortable. And that actually happened to me. And it's not a good place to be, because now you're stressing even though you have that person who is doing all that stuff. Have you seen this? You have been to many like business events, you're meeting all these entrepreneurs. Have you seen these things come up there as well?
Yeah, I think these are just obviously key topics. So the like a Pareto law, everybody really tells about like the necessity of focus and the necessity to say no and yes in the correct places. So I think they actually, what they mean under that is actually that you need to be able to figure out what are these 20% that actually will move the needle and get you where you want to get, and then you are then going and ultimately focusing on those things. And then the team, everybody keeps saying that they would be nowhere without the team. So it is especially interesting when you meet founders and business owners with the bigger teams, and bigger I mean like more than 5 people, let's say. So I think what I've noticed that like those are especially valued, the team and people with whom they work, because I think for them as a business owner, their duty and their task is to make themselves like not needed during the work process, because the less they need it, so more free time they have, more they can focus more on like interesting things, which is like building the business and kind of expanding and doing the strategy work. So then when they succeed more, it means that they have correct teams and correct people in places. So it means it makes them happy, but then also they give necessary credit to their teams because they wouldn't be there without them. So it is like a loop. So I think everybody recognize like the same thing. But then also like while we're speaking about founders and business owners, it's what I've noticed, it's like a social circles, and then like speaking with people, it is a big problem. Like people overall, what I see, lonely And then the founders and business owners are like also lonely. They all kind of crave even more, talks and discussions. And then maybe just for them, it might be some, special level or their niche, because, when you run the business in certain niche, people might not understand you. And also even other business owners might not even understand you. But then it's also it's harder for them to manage the time to kind of spend things. So that's what I see as a common problem there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel that founders, entrepreneurs, this is a real issue. That's why they have these co-working spaces. You can go there and share your opinion and maybe spar with somebody, because not everybody has the kind of are in the position where they had the social circle consisting of other entrepreneurs. If you're like, let's say you're sitting with a person who is from the corporate world, how will they perceive what you're trying to say? This business idea, this special, this innovative. So,
it's interesting because it looks like you speak the same language, you share, you connect, but you don't understand each other fully.
Yeah.
Like, this is kind of, then it results to something else.
Yeah. What's the most typical question I get when I meet my friends who are kind of in the corporate? What does your typical workday look like? It's kind of interesting, and then you try to think about it, and you're like, actually, it's quite different than yours.
Yeah. And then
I start my morning with golden cereal.
And my questions frequently people ask me, so what exactly you do?
That's another one.
And my answer is like, this and that. What's needed? Where's the fire? What's the problem? But yeah, I mean, it's I think like entrepreneurship and like, running a business is over romanticized. Like, it's romantic kind of to think about that, or like you are your own boss. I'm like, hell no, you're your own boss, but then also you're your own devil, and then you need to punish yourself, and then you need to kick yourself up, but then also you need to support yourself. So it's you're kind of, I think in the end you're lonely. That's what happens.
Yeah, because it's kind of a lonely road. There is no kind of, someone has not written the path for you. You're doing it yourself.
Right.
And you have to, when you're struggling, you struggle by yourself.
And then the cycle is
come to a friend, but they won't understand maybe.
The cycle is completed. So you write the path yourself, then you execute it yourself, and then you feedback about the work you've done yourself. So, and then you do it again. But then also, so something else I wanted to ask you is that, do you maybe know or see any business ideas or opportunities that you would do if it wouldn't be you? So like something that you see cool or needed or, opportunity, but then you will not be pursuing you because it's out of your domain or not your interest.
I mean, technology itself is kind of a venue where I'm not so good. So there's surely something. And actually yesterday I was in this storage facility with a construction guy, and we were having a discussion that what is my vision for the facility. And at that moment, I was thinking to myself, it would be like crazy good if someone came up with a app where you would just take a picture of the facility or room or whatever, and you could just tell to our AI that, hey, I want to add this and this and that. And then you could show that picture to the construction person. Because now what it means is that I actually have to sit down and, create the picture, and it will take, I don't know, for me, it's like 24 hours or maybe a bit less, but then I'll show it to him and then he'll start to calculate. So it just takes too much time.
Yeah.
But if there was this kind of app, it would be a game changer.
So it is kind of taking maybe your vision from your head and then moving it to the 3D, or maybe not 3D, but the model of the thing. Okay, the space should look like this. But then also another problem is the technical image. So what are the actual dimensions and materials, and like will the construction hold itself? So there are like calculations involved. And then there is the guy who is a construction guy who goes and executes based on these images.
And it's a common thing that now I think that I have explained myself really well, but then I don't know if he understood. Of course, he was telling me that yes, he understood, but there might be a chance that I go there when it's finished and it looks like completely different.
Yeah, not what you imagined. Yeah.
But if he had this,
you could validate yourself. You're like, okay, it looks like I imagined.
This is what I expect.
That's what I want. Yeah.
Have you ventured into some kind of AI tools or?
So the AI thing that I mentioned, that's what we are doing, but we are doing the virtual staging. So it is when you take a picture of empty room or furnished room, and then there's a different furniture coming in, or there's a new furniture coming in. So this is to help real estate agents sell properties, better. So it is a market standard in Finland. Mostly agents are frequently doing it. So then we want to create a AI tool that would help with that. But then also what I see that like in your idea, I think there is a potential in that for sure, because everything that helps transmit the knowledge correctly and then help close the gap, because for you need to draw the thing, and you cannot draw, you don't know how to do that, right? So then it solves your problem, has a potential. But then also I see from the technological side, this will be a really difficult to kind of pull out. So now we are doing this virtual staging, which is technologically, it is way easier as a concept. And then we're still facing kind of problems there, like, what is the depth of the room? What is the styling? How does the walls? And then, AI doing some kind of holes in the walls or moving the window around. You're like, it has one property and then it's another property. So, but there are lots of underwater stones that you will see, but then it shouldn't stop people. So then if anyone is like listening,
please do that.
Do that. So the first customer, you have a first customer.
Think about it. If you're like flipping apartments, how cool it would be that you would just tell this app that, hey, I want this green kitchen, I want this herringbone, park it there, and you had it ready. And then it would be also connected to maybe K-Rauta, the utility stores and the furniture stores, so you could add stuff there and have this finished product. So you would not need to worry that nobody or somebody didn't understand what you're actually asking for. So please create this idea and just run with it, and you have first customer.
First customer right here. And then anyway, I think kind of it should have an AI, and it's a technology, so it means that it has a global potential, it's scalable. It means that you can not easy but relatively easy raise funds for this type of a business. So I think the VC funds and investors, they would be happy to discuss this type of opportunities if you have a correct angle to enter this.
And real estate is always sexy, and you combine this AI with it.
Yeah, this is why we are looking at it. I'm like, okay, what should be next? What are the next things that potentially can help people within the real estate succeed? Cool. It is time almost to wrap up. Last tertiary question for you: what you'd like to tell? Maybe two things. One, you tell yourself for future development. So like something that you wish yourself be doing. And then second one, you wish for me.
The first one, and I'm trying to still learn, is to embrace the kind of hard times. It's been a really kind of eye-opening that you're facing all these struggles, but you're not enjoying them. So that's why they say enjoy the process, because someday you'll look back into these times and be like, okay, these were quite small problems you were dealing with. So trying to actually celebrate the small wins and just enjoy life itself, because it sometimes feels that you're doing a lot, but it's not leading to anything. There will be times. So as for your advice, me giving you advice, there's this quote that has been like with me for the longest time, which I have been following, and it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than have an opportunity and not be prepared. So I see that you're venturing in all these different things, and it might feel at times that, wait, nothing is kind of working, or something is working, but this is not working. But have this in mind, because maybe something that didn't work will work later on with something else. So that's something that came into mind.
Yeah, this is huge. I think it's worth noting and kind of digesting over a cup of tea maybe tonight for me.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Cool. Thank you very much, Sunny, for showing up here. You're like the most frequent guest of the Get Cracking podcast.
I feel like
You're the only one who is like 2 times.
yeah. I mean, I'm like every week in this podcast. Maybe I should do something else.
No, maybe we should wait 1 more year and then we keep you accountable again, and then we ask all the difficult questions, and then there's a new episode, new setup, new everything, and maybe in another facility, because now today we're actually recording in your facility. But hey everybody, thank you so much for being with us. Please like this episode if you like at least anything here. Subscribe to the channel, follow me on my socials, let me know how to get better. We are constantly improving on everything here. And then also, of course, go follow Sunny Singh in LinkedIn and Des Singh in Instagram. And yeah, just keep on going and keep on cracking. Thank you. Bye.